Hello, my Lynn Things family and friends. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So happy to see you. It is now, I want to say 2 days after Valentine's Day. So I just want to say I hope all of you guys had a beautiful Valentine's Day. I surely did. Me and my daughter did go out to the mall and just kind of spent some time together. We had like a heart-shaped pizza for dinner and little glass of wine in heart-shaped glasses or the plastic cups. They were really cute. We had a nice, fun, quiet evening at home because honey, Valentine's Day, the restaurants are kind of packed and it's hard to get into places. So I was happy to just do some, things like watching movies and we had like like I said, little drinks, our little snacks, our chocolates, and we just enjoyed a night in. I absolutely enjoyed myself. But y'all know what time it is. So we are going to next read our next chapter or next excerpt from the Viola Davis A Finding Me book. And I am so happy that you guys are finding her story so interesting and that you are enjoying these mini sessions with me, these mini read with me, or I'm sorry, story time with me. This book is really, really great. So I read a little bit from chapter one, a little bit from chapter two, and now I'm going to read a little bit from chapter three. So I think that's how I'm kind of going to do this. And I will read this book that way to you guys in these little mini sessions until we are done. And so we know I am doing this for not just Black History Month, but we know March is Women's History Month. So this will continue on into March because she is a woman and she has made history as well. So yeah, we're gonna jump in, but before I jump in, I have to light my candle. So I've already actually lit my candle. It was the peppermint sugar cookie that I lit already. So go ahead, get nice and comfy wherever you may be. I kind of wanted to get this one out because the weekend is coming. So maybe you might be off on the weekend. I'm not. I work weekends, but um, I kind of wanted to, give you guys a little bit more into the story. And so, like I said, you can definitely listen to this off in the background, play me in the background if you just want to listen to the story, or you can sit and watch, go get you a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or hey, maybe a cold drink if you feel like something cold, because we might not all live in cold places. Like it may be a little cold where I am, but it's just a little chilly. We've really had some great mild weather for it to be February. So I'm thankful for that. But y'all, let's jump into our story time. And don't forget, get all nice and comfy, honey. Um, and then remember at the end, if there's anything that brings any memories for you guys, or you wanted to share something, a story, I definitely would not mind that at all. Okay, guys, so now we are on chapter three, and this is titled Central Falls. And you guys know that's where she lived, so we're going to jump right on in. It says, Central Falls, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live our name, and long live our glory, and long may our story be told. This was the motto of Central Falls High School. 2 months after I was born, my parents moved to Central Falls, taking their three youngest kids, Anita, Dolores, and me, and leaving their two oldest, Diane and John, with my mother's parents. Diane and John were raised by my grandparents for years until my mom could no longer stand to hear the stories of them being beaten in school. Wow. My parents sent for them to come to Central Falls. Central Falls, Rhode Island was a square mile town with a single claim to fame, one of the most densely populated cities per square mile in the United States. Central Falls also had more bars and churches in its borders than any other city. Central Falls by 1985 was named the cocaine capital because of one of the largest drug stings of all time happened in its streets. The sweet story, the idyllic story, was that it was once called Chocolateville because of the number of chocolate factories in town. To the naked eye, Central Falls seemed bucolic. There were several parks in Central Falls, but our favorite playground was at Jinks Park because of Cogswell Tower, the site where Native American scouts witnessed the approach of Captain Michael Pierce. This episode was a key part of King Philip's War, an armed battle from 1675 to 1678 between the Native Americans of New England and the New England colonists. We moved there because two of the biggest racetracks in the country were in Rhode Island. There was the Lincoln Downs in Lincoln and the Narragansett racetrack in Narragansett, affectionately called Gansett. Mom and pop shops lined the streets of Central Falls. Sarah's restaurant had a big wooden bench booths with high backs that fascinated me. Sarah's had homemade rice pudding, corn muffins fried with heaps of butter, and the best hamburgers in town. St. Vincent de Paul, also known as the Salvation Army, located on Washington Street, had used clothes, shoes, toys, knickknacks, and furniture. It was our favorite playground of affordable leftovers. Across the street from St. Vincent de Paul's was Gabe's store, or as we called it, Antar's. We have plenty of loving memories at that store, but complicated ones as well. Loving because the owner, Gabe Antar, who was Syrian, was very kind to our family. It was a wonderful grocery store, stocked with everything you could possibly need. Whenever we were really hurting, he would give us a line of credit so that we could buy food. It was complicated though, because oftentimes my mama and my daddy would ask Gabe for monetary loans. Gabe kept a notebook under the cash register with a tally of what various neighborhood families owed him. Some of my most embarrassing memories are going to the store with a piece of paper on which my mother had written how much money she needed. Sometimes the embarrassment was so great that my sister Dolores and I would tear up the paper and refuse to hand him the charity request. Instead, we would just tell my mom that Gabe denied the loan. And sometimes when we asked Gabe, he would, in frustration, throw money at us because my parents had not paid their outstanding debts. This nice man would fly off into a rage and scream, "Get out!" We would pick the money up off the floor, humiliated, and walk out completely defeated. When we were really hungry, though, Gabe's was the easiest store to steal from. Much later in life, I found out that Gabe had lost his son in Vietnam. It probably explained the frustration and sadness in his eyes. It might have also accounted for how kind he was to us kids and why he helped us when he saw our need. Our relationship with him was filled with love and appreciation, mixed with the shame of having to cling so desperately to his willing kindness, which was all too often a lifesaver. When you're clutching to live, morals go out the window. We were po. There's a level lower than poor. I've heard some of my friends say, we were poor too, but I just didn't know it until I got older. We were poor and we knew it. There was absolutely no disputing it. It was reflected in the apartments we lived in, where we shopped for clothes and furniture, the St. Vincent de Paul, the food stamps that were never enough to fully feed us, and the welfare checks. We were po, not poor, po. We almost never had a phone. Often we had no hot water or gas. We had to use a hot plate, which increased the electric bill. The plumbing was shoddy, so the toilets never flushed. Actually, I don't ever remember toilets working in our apartments. I became very skilled at filling up a bucket and pouring it into the toilet to flush it. And with our gas constantly being cut off because of non-payment, we would either go unwashed or we would just wipe ourselves down with cold water. And even the wiping down was a chore because we were often without towels, soap, shampoo. I darn near didn't know what the difference between a washcloth and a bath towel was. One of our first apartments was 128 Washington Street. My sisters and I ominously referred to it as 128. It's code for hell. When we first moved in, it was a normal apartment. I was 5 years old at the time. There was a tailor on the ground level. And on the third floor where we lived was a nice little porch. The building was old, probably built in the 20s or 30s, but it had been kept in fairly good condition. But then the tailor had moved out, and very quickly the building became condemned. The tailor's business was boarded up. Without attention, the wiring became dangerously unstable. There were several fires, and the building soon became infested with rats. In fact, the rats were so bad, they ate the faces off of my dolls. Whoa, y'all. Whew. I never, ever went into the kitchen. Rats had taken over the cabinets and the counter. The plaster was constantly falling off the wall, revealing the wooden boards holding the house together. We had to go to the laundromat to wash our clothes, but having no money, 5 kids, and freezing cold weather meant that most of the time laundry would go unwashed for weeks. That, compounded with the bedwetting, made for a home with a horrific smell. Closets and space underneath the beds would be stuffed with shoes, dust, miscellaneous items. We were afraid of even cleaning for fear rats would be lurking underneath all of the rubbish. On the first day of the month, food stamps would come, and we would make a huge grocery run at Big G Market. In less than 2 weeks, the food would be gone. A short time after we moved in, I remember Mayor Bassett came to the apartment and made a big speech in our living room, saying he was giving us the apartment for free. We didn't have to pay any rent. That was because the building was condemned. In a year, the city planned to tear it down and build a school. Mayor Bassett sent someone to the apartment who knocked a hole through one of the walls that led to the apartment next door, creating a makeshift doorway. That apartment next door never had any heat or electricity. Never. Even in the short spans that our apartment had heat and electricity, the one next door never did. But we had that space. We used it for bedrooms, running extension cords from the apartment that had electricity. Months later, I went to Mayor Bassett's house to sing Christmas carols. It was on the other side of town, the part where the rich folks lived, or the people who had a little bit of money. His house seemed to have 40-foot ceilings, a fireplace, a huge staircase, and a Christmas tree that was larger than I had ever seen in my life. The heat was from the house just whooshed out at us. The heat from the house whooshed out at us. We who were shivering in the freezing cold. 128 might as well be code name for dungeon for my sisters and me. Although our time there was also speckled with good memories, my oldest sister Diane had remained in South Carolina with my grandparents. She was growing up in segregated schools where the education was substandard, and dark skinned students were frequently beaten with switches until they were bloody simply for refusing to be born high yellow or red bone. Okay, guys, so that is our next couple of pages in chapter 3. So now we are seeing when they got to Central Falls. I did hear because I used to work with seniors, and I think one of the people I worked for, she used to tell me, stories about growing up, and there were apartments that did not have like heat. I forgot the name, what they called them, but sometimes you didn't have heat, and you had to kind of boil water on a stove just to have hot water. I do remember or recollect some things like that in stories I have read and things like that, but the one thing I have to say about us, we are a resilient people, honey. We will make a way out of no way. We will definitely try to come up with a way to make things work, no matter how hard they are. I have to say, I am very proud of my culture in that sense that even when there is like very little, we know how to make do with what we have. That is a blessing to have. And like I say, it just makes us resilient. And not just in my culture, but I know I have read and seen many things where we've had to make do. We really have. So if you have, anything to add to this, any memories of your own, or maybe things you heard from someone older in your family, you go ahead and list them or let me know down in the comments. I love reading you guys' feedback. This book has really been a great read. And like I say, it's full of things that you probably never would have guessed Miss Viola Davis went through. And if you have read the book, then you know what I'm talking about. But I hope you guys continue to enjoy her story. I will pick up in probably another couple of days. I don't have like a schedule when I want to do these, but I want to try to bring, you guys one at least once a week, if not more, maybe two a week or something like that. But again, I have not scheduled a time because your girl be busy between work and taking care of home and trying to make sure I got, videos for you guys as well. But I will be putting them in there for you guys because you guys are enjoying them. Don't forget to hit that like if you have not hit that like. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you here in the Lynn and Things family. I am usually doing a Dollar Tree hauls, walkthroughs, and reviews. You probably got a walkthrough today, and I have a couple more Dollar Tree things. Right now, actually, I'll be filming a Dollar Tree. What is it? A walkthrough? I think putting up another walkthrough for you guys probably. But I also will have a upcoming Dollar Tree haul as well. So please make sure to enjoy those in the next couple of days coming up. All right, guys, I so enjoyed your time, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one.